Hello everyone, welcome to Education USA webinar sessions with the US University representatives. I am Sevinç Hüseyinova, Education USA consultant, and we have today a representative of Lake Washington Institute of Technology, Yun Su, who is Assistant Director of International Programs. She will be talking today on the topic community colleges in United States and why you should attend one. During the webinar, she will give information both on the topic and also about the university. If you have any questions, please feel free to write your questions in the comment part and we will try to respond them at the end of the webinar. Now, I would like to give the floor to you.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Sevin.
Thank you,
Good evening. My name is Ian Su. I'm the Assistant Director of International Programs at Lake Washington Institute of Technology. So today I will talk a little bit about community colleges and why students should choose one as one of your education options in the United States. So a little bit about myself. So I'm Yoon Soo. I'm originally from Taiwan. So I started my education journey as an international student, just like one of you. So I'm very excited to provide some more insight and share my personal experience as an international student. So feel free to ask us any questions and we'd be happy to provide more information to you. And Education USA is a really great resource for you. They do one-on-one sessions or they host webinars. So feel free to reach out to them if you have further questions after the webinar or want to learn more about their programs. Today I will go through a brief overview. So starting from telling you a little bit about like US institution data, since there's so many out there, higher educations in the United States, type of colleges, university that you can potentially look into, and into our really topic, like what is a community college? And then we'll share our student experience at a community college, some admissions information for you to consider, why attending one or what's helpful in the process, and what is a 2+2 model that you could potentially benefit from, especially when community college students talk about it. They always highlight like the 2+2 process, transfer admissions, and then I will use our school as an example to provide you some more insight and further information. In the at the end, we'll also share a Q&A session, so feel free to ask us if you have any other questions as well. So U.S. institution data. So from the map, you can see that there are currently about 4,000 accredited institutions in the United States, including private, public, and so forth. So according to the data from College Board, more than 40% of the U.S. undergraduate students attended a community college. And students that make up the community college population are aged from 18 to 24 years old. And people would be really curious about who has attended a community college and why so many people has benefit from it. So I've listed out a couple really famous celebrities that you can think about. Steve Jobs, Morgan Freeman, and Walt Disney are all famous community colleges graduates or alums. And also the First Lady, Jill Biden, who has been a community college educator and promoting community college to the large student populations as well. So I'll go into a brief higher education types in the United States, starting from community colleges. You can see that usually they offer like those 2 years program, which is the foundation class, gen ed classes that you'll take in the first 2 years of your college level classes. So with that 2 years, you'll get an associate degree from the college. Some colleges are a little different too, that they often offer technical and certificate programs. So it's more career related. So for those students who are thinking about like starting a new job, doing career transitions, or like either starting a new graduate programs, they could potentially think about start taking some classes in community college. So to make that career change and also like your graduate studies more smoothly. In community colleges, a lot of them also offers intensive English program, which is a lot of times people would know like it is like the ESL program. So you would not necessarily need like a TOEFL, IELTS, Duolingo score before you apply. But this really varies because during COVID time, a lot of program changes. So I would recommend you to reach out to the school that you're interested and say, hey, what is it offered at your college? If I want to start English, is that available? And then what's also unique, especially like for in Washington State, there's a high school completion program. So student by the age of 16 years old completed ninth grade, 10th grade in their home countries or outside their home countries will get their transcript evaluated. So the whole concept is taking college credits but finishing up high school. I've seen a lot of my students who typically from the Asian regions has mostly completed most of their gen ed classes and just missing one or two additional courses. So they will be the core would be doing associate level program but finishing off their high school. So in the US, there's another type of college called liberal arts college. It is usually like a 4-year institution. And then has a different approach as the general 4-year university that they focuses on art, social science, and humanities. And we'll jump into like 4-year universities, like generally the 4-year program. So those 4 universities has offered like a bachelor's, master's, PhD, and then the ranges from big schools, small schools, public, private, and then different types of credentials institutions as well. So we'll go into a little bit further about community colleges. So community college are used to name as a 2-year school that provide affordable post-secondary education as a pathway to a 4-year university. But in our college and some other colleges right now, they also offers 4-year programs as a pathway for students as well. So typically they can do a 2+2 in the community college or either completing the 4-year in their institution. So they could start straight over with their bachelor's program and finishing up with their bachelor 4 years at the school. So I've also highlighted the 2+2 models, which is really well known among community colleges. So it's just allows students to earn a bachelor degree by completing their first 2 years at a community college and then transfer the first 2 years of your college level classes to a 4-year institution. It really saves you more time, hence save you some money at a university too, because the gen ed classes you'll take would be really, really similar and at a smaller class size and more affordable tuition rate. So a little bit more about community colleges highlights, like most of them, or I would say most of them that I know of, does not have a SAT or ACT entry requirement. It's optional. If you have taken in, then it potentially would let you like waive some college level credits or waive your college level placement test. So it depends on how you score and what transcript that you have to offer and smaller class sizes. So typically I would say for our school, like a lot of times students is like ratio students like 30 people in the classroom and so forth. And we also minimum age varies sometimes. Some community college require older age students, like Washington State schools. If you have want to enroll in the high school completion program, you'll be able to enroll at 16 years old. And then usually because community colleges has different intakes per year, so it's an easier and fast application process. So I would say in Washington State schools, we run on a quarterly basis. So fall, winter, spring, summer, there's 4 intakes per year, but some specialty programs only offer 1 intakes. So that's another consideration. So if you feel like I really want to go study abroad, is there an option for me starting in July or starting in spring, like April? There's options for you as well. Excuse me. So another benefits for you to consider is the extra year of work experience through OPT. OPT is short for optional practical training. Sorry, excuse me. It's a working period of time that you guarantee that's offered under your student visa. So generally, you'll need to enroll in a full-time status of study for a year, and then you'll gain a 1-year OPT. And during this OPT period of time, you can get your hands-on experience and doing a full-time or part-time job to be related to your major of study. So to be more practical and more hands-on and gain experience in the United States. So it's really valued. And as people might know, like highly recommended student to have experience, either leadership work experience in the United States. So it really helps you to build up your resume and finding your future career as well. So I would say also starting at a smaller community college, you'll have more opportunities to get involved in campus life. So for instance, in one time in our student programs, 9 out of 10 of the student program officers were international students. So that which we were really proud of. They host on-campus event. One of my design students drew all the posters, which hang across all the campuses. And they also participated in leadership meetings, meeting our presidents, providing more insight from the student body. So it really helps you to get involved in the session and find your own community on campus. So I'm gonna share a student experience at our college who is currently enrolled. Her name's Haijin. She's from China. She really liked the smaller setting at a common college. She felt really welcomed and the most welcome. Her favorite place on campus is the library, and also there's a learning net lab. So the learning lab offers her tutoring services or off classes sessions. Sometimes it's more related to your math, pre-calculus classes. So you can get a little additional support from other people after class. And she also met a lot of amazing friends on campus when she was enrolled in those activities or either joining the student club, going to a library. And she also had offered a part-time job on campus. So she was in our testing center supporting students to take their college placement test. So it really helps her to practice English in real life, and then get these leadership working experience. So she felt it's really meaningful for her. So she knows what different school life would be. And also have a little saving for herself while she was enrolling with us. So this is what she'd like to share with students overseas or thinking about participating in community college, that oftentimes students could be hired to find an on-campus job when they're enrolled. We'll talk a little bit about four-year universities. So four-year universities generally offers the four-year bachelor's program, and a lot of them offers bachelor's of art, bachelor of science, bachelor's business administration, and then a lot of them come directly from a high school. And then also students who could potentially, starting from community college, transfer to a four-year school. So there is a transfer admissions process that we'll talk a little bit about it in the later slides to think about when you're applying for community college and what you want to achieve in the last the 2 years that you're enrolled. Like, for instance, where you want to transfer to, what should you consider, how proactive you should be, those type of stuff too. Admissions information. I think this is really important among all the students, no matter thinking of going to a community college or going to directly to a 4-year school. Research your school options. So what school types really fit you better. So you know yourself better than I am. So depending on what you feel like comfortable with, I would say studying abroad is a big decision, and there's a lot of things you want to think about before you study, like which location, the weather, the class setting, class sizes. Like, for instance, a lot of university offer really big classes with lower level course. So for instance, some math class might have 200 people. Do you feel comfortable in a bigger classroom, or do you want more a little bit hands-on, approachable setting? And also like the college size. So there's mid-size, small size, large size schools, and also West Coast and the East Coast in the United States are really different too. So please do your research. There are a lot of options for you. From the Usually you can find the estimated total cost on college website, for instance. So usually like a tuition at a university probably would be double or triple the tuition in a then community college. So you can consider your option as starting your education journey from a community college and then transfer. So if then it will minimize your cost, or if there's potential scholarships that's available, like what would be offered. Some places offer really generous transfer scholarships, so that might be one of your options. For most of the schools, you have to have a valid passport, and it's also helpful when you go to apply for your student visa, your high school transcript. If you're transferring some classes in from your institution abroad, especially in universities, then you'll probably need to do an international credential evaluation. So they could be on the same scale, and then to evaluate if the course is a little identical or similar to the course that you'll be taking in the US. Proof of financial statement. So it's usually like a yearly cost at a institution. So it's your tuition, estimated living expenses, and also other fees. So it will be listed as a requirement on the college website as well. So English proficiency score that I mentioned earlier, some schools does offer intensive English program for you. So you don't need to necessarily take one, or else if you want to start directly with academic programs, then I highly recommend you to either take a TOEFL, IELTS, Duolingo test. If you're from like a bilingual education system, then please just contact the admissions office. They'd be happy to take a look at it and let you know what your options are. So other admissions, some schools, like if you're applying for your university, they will look at probably like a SAT, ACT score sometimes, and other options. And you will need some of the 4 universities also need a personal statement, letter of recommendation. So every school is a little unique and different in their admissions process. So I will highly recommend you to reach out to. So what is the 2+2 process, and how can you benefit from it? So as I mentioned earlier, and as you might know, like community colleges offered affordable tuition and fee, and it's more accessible to students. So we want to provide more open access education to students of all. So like open admission process, like us, we have 4 intakes a year. And then you could potentially just start your first 2 years at community college or potentially do the 2+2 with us. So there's a options for you right there as well. And then you can start with a smaller class size. So you can get more attention from the teacher and know your classmates well. And it would be really helpful for you to get that OPT experience that I explained earlier, to have an additional work experience in the US as you like go on further career, or like even just to get some experience when you're going back to your home country. And transfer admissions, I'm not a transfer specialist, so I'll just highlight a couple of questions that you might think about when you're starting in community college, planning for your transfer. So usually for community colleges, there are transfer agreements for students to consider and apply to. So when you apply for admissions process, you can say, hey, what classes, what colleges can I, what colleges has transfer agreement with you. I'd like to receive a transfer admissions letter. So you would say like, hey, if you maintain a 2.5 or 3.0 GPA, then you'll be accepted to the third year of this university. So and then you also want to consider some of the popular major. You'll also think about if they apply to school directly, or is there a separate application to the major. And does the major that you are applying to have prerequisite? That means like you need to have that listed on your transcript, or how much GPA requirement that they recommended you to have to be competitive. English proficiency requirements. Some colleges accept your college English 101. Some does not, and they recommend you to take additional TOEFL or outscore. Then you have to probably plan and study for that. And then another question, do you need to submit a high school transcript? Then you'll need to plan ahead of time to request for one. And then the application deadline is one of the highlight that you want to think about, like to lay out your last year of study at a community college. Like, hey, if the deadline is in March, then you probably have to start thinking about it starting in fall, and when to request your official transcript and get it delivered and so forth. I would be using my college in Washington State as an example. So, Washington State is laid on the west coast of U.S., which is really close to the border of Canada. We're in the Greater Seattle area in a city called Kirkland, where the first Costco was founded and headquarters was originally there. So you probably be familiar with the city name Kirkland. And we're named after the lake. So we're called Lake Washington Institute of Technology. We're founded back in 1949. And then I would like to offer why to consider starting your education in Washington State. I would say first, there are a lot of highly ranked colleges and university, and then long time committed to international students. As I mentioned, we operated on a quota system. That means 4 intakes a year for most programs, and then you can, whenever you're ready and meet the age requirement, you can start apply. There are work on campus opportunity with a minimum wage. This was 15.774 was the last year's wages, and then there's no income tax that you need to submit. And then there are also internship opportunities because we're surrounded by really big name companies. So Microsoft, Amazon, Boeing, and the Starbucks headquarters is also in Washington State. So we also have a beautiful 4 seasons. So you can do snowboarding, skiing in the winter, hiking in the summertime. So that's something to consider. So I represent Lake Washington Institute of Technology. We offer 40 more levels, degree programs, and with hands-on learning. So currently we have 11 applied bachelors, 40 more associate level degrees. Top programs has been like business, computer science, digital gaming, interactive media, design, architecture, technology, and many more. So you can start with your start with your 2 years program and then transfer to a 4-year university, or think about our apply bachelor's program. So you can do your 4 years with us. And a lot of our programs are really career focused. So they want you to build up your career from early setting. 83% of our students are employed within 9 months of graduation. So for those that are thinking about career changes or they want to switch in the tech field, this is a place for you to start as well. So younger age students, mid-age students, there are programs both for you. We are also very accessible. We currently have around 150 international students representing 30 more countries. So we offered at a smaller class size setting. So one of our Kyrgyzstan student, Agarian, represented us at the national conference. It's the Race and Ethnicity Conference in Hawaii. So she also won the Anchor Award and then represented her poster at the session. So this was just happened in March. So we're really happy for her and thank you for her contribution as well. Now we're happy to go into a Q&A session, and please feel free to let us know if you have any questions. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much for the brief explanation. It was very useful information for both the network and for also the students who are getting ready to apply in upcoming admission year. I see that we have one question. The question is, given that community colleges are known for their affordability, can you share the acceptance rate for international students at your school?
That's a very good question. So this acceptance rate might differ among different programs that you're applying to. For instance, for our general program, I would say 80% acceptance rate. But for some specialty programs such as nursing, which has more like accreditation issues, and also our other health sciences like physical therapy assistant, those type of programs. I do not have the acceptance rate because I would say it varies among years.
Thank you. The second question is, what kind of help do you give to students from other countries when they first come to your college? Is it different from the help they would get at the 4-year university?
That's a very good question. So I would say in the previous slide, we talked about big class size, smaller class size. I went to grad school in the US, and then I remember when I was trying to reach advisor, you'll have to plan ahead of time. So for instance, you have to do like a 2 to 3 weeks in advance meeting appointment, which was really hard for me as an international student to know when to schedule the meeting. If I waited till the afternoon, probably this time slot were all gone. So it was harder to assess in a bigger setting. So for us, we try to offer more open door access, even though we recommend students to do appointment. But I know things come up very randomly, like you probably need support right away. You can come into our office anytime you'd like, and then we had a person to talk to you. Either my colleague would help you to schedule appointment, or if it's a fast question, you'll get help immediately. So we typically get a really fast response to student, and if it's urgent, we try to get on top of it as soon as possible. So accessibility, and also we do most of every schools do like a orientation, but we start doing like an icebreaker. So they know more of their colleagues, and some make friends really quickly, or either start living together in in a rent house. So those type of support that we were provide. And I would say in my college, my colleagues, a lot of them started as an international student, so they all know like your education journey and how difficult it is to adjust in a new living setting. So I would say from a college, you'll get hands-on support, and you can easily know your professor, your staff well. So whenever you have question, you can reach out to them.
Thank you so much. We have the third question. Are there any exchange opportunities for students at your community college, like spending a semester for another US university or from a different country?
That's a very good question. I know for us, we currently have not have exchange opportunities. I know our technology program, we're thinking of developing one to go to Europe to study more of the buildings and their landscape. But currently, we do not have one. But I know some community college does offer that, and they do have a specialist that do that. So you can reach out to them directly or ask them individually.
So another question is, what majors do you have at your college?
Yes, so we currently have 40 more associate level studies. We have a School of Business, School of Design, School of Health Sciences, School of Education. I believe there's also some other schools as well. And then top programs has been like computer science, computing software development, because we're basically in a very tech field. We also have a strong business transfer program, accounting, design, digital gaming, architecture, technology, pre-nursing program, nursing program, health sciences program, public health program, and so forth, and early childhood education program, culinary arts, baking arts. So a wild variety programs that you can choose from.
Thank you. Another question is it true that community college has better teachers and at universities professors are more interested in research than teaching?
I can't really speak of all schools, but I would say I would say that for the teachers and faculties that I've known of in the college, they are really welcoming, and they are really supportive of students, because we now have this faculty advisor system that student has to have a designated faculty advisor. So rather than your general advisor in an international program office, you'll have a faculty advisor. So they keep track of you. If you're say on track, can you finishing off in 2 years, or if you're you're like left behind, what should you do, like what classes you should considering taking. So I would say basic mostly yes, but some teachers have other offerings as well. For instance, our college, a lot of teachers has industry experience, and all of our program has industries advisory board. So they evaluated their coursework yearly, and make changes and add on to their curriculum as well. And they're really accessible too. So that was really helpful. Whenever we need a support from a faculty, they could jump in and let us know the current situation of the student too.
Hi, I'm ninth grade student and I'm curious about what the admissions team looks for in student applying to community colleges. What makes a student really stand out to you?
Hello. It's exciting to hear about your thinking about your future studies. I would say generally we're open admissions, and I would say it's just be ready for your your high school transcript, and also think about if you're planning to take English or not, because um, if you have pretty good English, I highly recommend you take an English placement test, so you don't need to take additional English before you start your academic program. And also, I would say be ready if you're feeling okay that you're ready to go study abroad, then I would say go for it. If you're not ready yet, you can think about if you want to complete at high school in your home country, or if you want to start in an earlier age, those type of things. I think a readiness is something that we're looking forward to, because adjusting in a foreign setting is not easy. So the mindset and your parents' mindset are really important, are both pretty important.
Also, could you share the most common reason for a student applying application being rejected? Is there something specific we should avoid including in our application?
That's a very good question. I couldn't speak of all. I would say prepare for materials early so you can have a little more time. If we need additional information supporting application that should be provided from you, then we'll get back to you when we receive your application. So you have this time to either get back to us preparing for those materials so you can be ready for the next intake. I would say being serious is another thing, because a lot of times a lot of students probably weren't really ready, and then so they were like, okay, we waited for a little bit, then probably time have passed. And also I would say financial statement, sometimes we would need like we need it from the bank. So with that, we require official copies, digital copies that will be acceptable too. So that would be something that you want to prepare in advance, and also your valid passport, because even though you're coming to the visa interview or so forth, that is we need that official document, so we could put it in a portal called CBIS system to issue your school official document called I-20. Um, yes, and I know Education USA probably had provided more information about that and documents that you need to prepare when you apply.
How can I contact you if I have more questions about applying?
Sure, I'd be happy to provide my email in the chat box so you can receive get my email address as well.
If my TOEFL score is around 90, is that good enough for understanding the classes and studying at the community college?
I would say yes. It's a pretty good TOEFL score already, and it's pretty competitive. So for us, TOEFL is just a minimum requirement for you to know your English availability, and you'll be able to start out with academic classes. But I know some community college varies. The requirements probably vary, so you'll be probably wanted to check in with them too.
Where do most students in your college come from? Do you have many Russian speaking students and community for them? I'm wondering about feeling alone and finding friends with the same background.
This is a very, very good question. I would say this is the thing that you don't need to be worried about. We do have Russian speaking staff, like a lot of them. They have and we originally, before COVID, we had the Russian speaking club too. I'd be happy to introduce to the advisor who originally hosted, and if you want to be engaged in the community, that's totally great too. We also have Russian church, Catholic church, and also we currently have a lot of students from Kyrgyzstan, I think a couple from Uzbekistan, and then a couple from Russia too. So though with those dynamic, you'll be able to find your community really easily, because they got close really easily when they start speaking Russian. And one of my colleague, um, She's Ukrainian, but I know she speaks Russians as well. So don't feel worried. There's a very supporting staff and community members that could help you with this as well.
Sorry. So I think this is all the questions we had. Thank you once again for the great webinar, for answering the questions. Thank you the rest of the audience for staying with us until the end. If you would like to share this webinar with your friends, please feel free to do so. We will save the session on our YouTube channel, which is Education USA Virtual. Thanks once again and have a nice evening. Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone.
A United States education is your gateway
to a great American campus experience,
to study in a country of innovators and entrepreneurs,
to use your curiosity wisely,
to take on challenges,
to think differently,
to have endless opportunities,
to hear new perspectives,
to navigate cultural differences,
to pursue your passions,
to gain real-world experiences,
to learn skills for a changing job market,
to put theory into practice,
to become the kind of professional you want to be,
to thrive in your career,
to give back to your community and to the world,
to be the kind of person that you wouldn't have dreamed to be otherwise.
Come study.
Come study.
Come study.
Come study in the United States.